again YouTube, Mad Dog here. Welcome back to my channel. So as per description, I'm going to be saying farewell to an old friend, the old Mora 911. I say farewell, I'm just retiring it off, to be honest, because I have used and abused this thing, to be honest, over the last few years that I've owned it. I have owned it a few, maybe 4 years, somewhere around there, you know. So it's done me some good service. But before saying goodbye to this old fella and replacing it with its new counterpart replacement, I'll show you a few little mods, hints, tips and tricks, if you like, that you can do with this thing later on. But before I get to that, I just want to do a quick shout out, and this is to CW Outdoors. It's Carl, my good mate Carl, formerly known as Carl's Countryside. Now, back in, I think it was around August 2017, Carl had to quit basically his YouTube channel because of personal reasons, and in doing so has lost a lot of his subscribers and followers. Now, I believe he was up to around 390, 397, somewhere around there, subscriptions. Now, those guys and lasses that were following him were also pretty much subscribed to my channel at the time, so there's that cross-reference, you know, mutual sort of interest thing going on. So if you were one of those people, his new site, that is his new channel rather, that he's just restarted doing, is CW Outdoors. I will put a link in the description box as always, and please go and show him some support. Bring him up, like all of us little channels. We've got to look after each other, get each other six, you know, and stand up for each other. So please go and check him out, show him some support. Tell him that Mad Dog sent you. That's CW Outdoors. Carl, great lad. He does like outdoor cooking sort of videos. Recently he's doing the Adrian's Wall sponsored walk. He's a vet, you know, he's a British Army veteran. I think he was a rifleman, but we won't go into all that. That aside, he's a cracking, proper down to earth, I believe he's a Yorkshireman. So, you know, he's going to be tight. So anyway, best wishes to you, brother, if you're watching. Massive respect and thank you very much for your service. I really mean that and appreciate that. So yes, please go and check him out, Carl, over at CW Outdoors. Yeah. So back to the video for today. The Mora 911 Basic. Over in the UK, I think they cost about £5, sometimes less, and I've had this one about 4 years, as you can see. So I've ground and reground and resharpened the blade that many times where it's becoming quite thin now, and you know, using my extra grip tape and various different things that I've done to this, I'm going to retire it off. I'm still going to use it. I'll use it for experimental purposes, but I'm not going to use it as part of my everyday go-to. I need to get stuff done, because sooner or later it will fail because of the abuse that I've put it through. So that being said, it's become my experimental piece. So in the back of this thing, to start with, just let me get this out here. I've drilled a hole there, excuse me, down to where it stops, basically where my drill bit has stopped up against the hard steel, which is only a short ways in, about there, and then the tang of the steel is met by the drill bit, and I think that was about 5mm diameter. I then opened out a further 1/4 of an inch, nearly 1/2 an inch, at 8mm to make a twofold hole. Whoops. So what I've then done is I've taken a small 5mm ferro rod, or 4.5mm, to that length, wrapped some duct tape around it to make up the 8mm outer diameter, and that now sits nicely in the back side of that, like so. So okay, it's not ideal, you know, to push, it will get you out of a bad situation. Because I always put a 90-degree spine on the back of my knives, all of them, you know, it should throw, and it does, a reasonable amount of material and sparks. It's not brilliant, I ain't gonna lie to you, but something's always better than nothing in any situation. There we go. So that's hack trick number 1, if you like. It fits just in its butt there nicely. It's not intrusive, it's not in the way, so that's worth doing or remembering. For a cheap knife, I wouldn't recommend going and destroying your expensive proper bushcraft knife. It's an experimental thing. The tape, by the way, is that is it Kinetex tape, something like that. It's for muscle strain and injuries. It's sports tape. It's cheaper than the stuff that you wrap bats with, you know, or baseball bats or cricket bats. It's cheaper, and it really does provide a lot more grip than the standard 511, 911 handle. So yeah, a couple of little tips or tricks. On the sheath, I don't know if you can see this, I've got a small ferro rod. This ferro rod is leftovers from a bigger one. I've removed the handle from it. You know when they wear down to like a taper to where they pretty much going to break and fail you. Take that little nugget out. Excuse me, file and scratch, or you know, whatever, sandpaper the end of your sheath using twin pack adhesive. In this case I used Araldite. Glue it on the very end, and you've got yourself another backup ferro rod. And again, with a good 90-degree spine, you've got something that you're not going to lose. It's always attached to you because it's on your belt loop, it's with your knife. It's a backup should you need it. And me personally, on the subject of belt loops, I very rarely wear a knife on a belt loop unless I'm in the woods. So this is either in my Bergen rucksack, whatever, or in a cargo pocket, or in the, you know, pocket of a coat, an inside pocket. So the belt loop, you know, I've just stuffed some cotton wool, heavily dressed with Vaseline under there for go-to firelighting. Why not? So simple little mods that you can do without dressing it all up with paracord and string, which is also a great idea, you know, for some emergency cordage. So out with the old, excuse me, in with the new. So this is another basic mora, am I saying this right? Yes, 511, not 911, that's a Porsche. I wish. So it's the 511. Again, I've gone for the carbon steel. I do prefer carbon over stainless. That's just my opinion. This is fresh out the box. I think this was £4. Is it 440, 450, something like that. I got this from, did I get it from Heine Hayes, something like that, or Blades and Bows, UK, somewhere around there. So I've only gone for this version just because it's striking in its colours, but it is still a basic mora, you know, 511. Now the only thing is, I don't know if this will pick up, the finish on the spine is quite poor, to be honest. The grind is quite poor. It's very jaggedy, very rough. So I'm going to, you know, work that until it is a good sharp 90-degree spine. I will then add all my little extras, all the little bits of ferrocerium rod. I probably won't drill the handle at the moment because it's still in good condition to do that, to butcher it. But I will do some mods to this to make it more, you know, why not, usable in the field, usable. Nice sharp out the box. If I just compare the two just quickly, you'll see hopefully that how much material I have taken off the original one. Try and overlap them so they line up nicely at the top, and there we go. You can see there's a good amount of material being taken off, you know, compared to the original. So where are we? There we go. So, you know, it's quite substantial. So I'm retiring the old boy off just because I don't want it to fail me in the field. I don't mind kicking about here at home, you know, I'll still use it for that. You may still see it in my videos being used as just that, but this will be the, you know, the one that takes the throne, as it were. So rambled on way too long. 90-degree spines. Okay, so as you saw in one of my previous videos, you know, feather sticking, all the rest of it, and showing the use of ferro rods in my previous ferro rod instructional video. And in that video I made a hash of making a feather stick because, not just on my part, this isn't an excuse, this is a reason. The piece of wood that I picked up was hard as hell. Normally if you're making a feather stick, you really need to be using some softer, you know, more malleable wood that's easier to carve. However, if you do come across a hard piece of wood, no matter how you try or how skilled you are or how sharp your knife is, you're going to struggle to make a really nice feather stick that's worth doing. So yet again, 90-degree spine comes into play. Let me pan you down here a little ways and hopefully you'll be able to see what I mean. So I've got myself the same hard type of wood that I used in that mess up video, and so I'm using the 90-degree spine. So rather than making a feather stick, I'm just taking shavings basically off that hard piece of wood, and hopefully you can hear how hard that is. It is good old stuff. This came out of my grandparents' garage, this did, so it's very, very seasoned, let's say, bless him. It's been in there a long time, but as you can see, by using that 90-degree spine quite quickly, you can get yourself some really nice fine, you know, tinder. So, you know, we want a good bird's nest of that, as it were. The more surface area the better for catching a spark, like any tinder. I'm trying to do it on the baking tray, which is slippy and slidey, as you all know, just for a demo. This would probably work even better if you use proper fat wood, or, you know, some pine. I'm not even sure what hardwood this is, to be honest, but hopefully we'll get something from it. So we've got a little nest there. Let's throw some sparks at it. The old ferro rod. Nearly. There we go, eventually, he says. And it is around, what we're on the temperature gauge, -2 over here in the UK in my shed. So, and with it, quite a lot of moisture. So, okay, it's not fat wood, it's just hardwood, but it is going, as you can see, hopefully. It is going, albeit very slowly. So, another reason or use to have a 90-degree spine on your knife, not just to, you know, strike the ferro rod, but to get that tinder in the first place. And also, let me zoom you up here a little ways, bear with me, do excuse me being rude. And also, obviously, quartz, flint, chert, you know, which is basically flint, will throw a spark off the back of that as well, so it's multi-use. But you know, that method does take practice and time to learn. I'm not going to lie to you, it's more skilled than using a ferro rod. But yes, I'm going to be improving this over the next few days. Put a 90-degree spine on that, add a few goodies to it. But this will be my shed beater, my new shed beater, and I like it because if you drop it, you know, I want to see this in the dark, hopefully, unless it falls into deep leaves and litter, which I'm going to cover in another video very soon. I've got a little trick up my sleeve for that. Nothing flash or fancy, but very obvious. But anyways, rambled on way too long, as always. Don't forget, guys and lasses, that tomorrow is the closing date for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So if you haven't already entered, please do so tonight, because at some point tomorrow I'm closing it down. I think I'm up to around 97 entries, somewhere around there. I will be doing the draw with my missus tomorrow at some point. We've got to go through the process of listing everybody, cutting them all out, putting a number to each one of them, ready to draw out of my hat. That's 97 of you guys and lasses up to now, so whoever wins, good luck to everybody, you know, and thank you all for participating. On the back of that, I will also say, I believe that after I've done this 1,000 giveaway, there's a couple of channels that I may also give something to in the future, not immediately after. You know, the P&P kills me, to be honest, but in the future, there's a couple of little channels I'm going to do shout outs to, and just give them a little gift sake, because I respect them and I want them to get some views and some help basically. So bear with me on that. Might be a couple more giveaways coming up in the not too distant future. So anyway, take care out there. It's horrible weather over in the UK in places. A lot of snow, a lot of black ice on the road, so drive carefully, drive slowly, and I'll see you all soon, which won't be long. Mad Dog signing off. Yeah!